Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I am really excited about the new project that I am about to start. It's a big one. This is a big project. I suspect this is gonna take me weeks to finish. It's gonna involve a lot of brain power, a lot of actual sewing as well, but I think I'm up for it and I'm really excited. So how this came to be is I once again saw something online. Someone I follow on Instagram was wearing this absolutely gorgeous raincoat. I don't know about you, but to me, usually raincoats are something functional, not necessarily aesthetic. It's really hard to find pretty raincoats, and when you do find them, they are so expensive. She had posted a link, I followed it, and it led to this website that sells absolutely stunning raincoats. Beautiful, feminine, flowing out into this beautiful circle skirt. Absolutely gorgeous. Way out of my budget. Way out of budget. But the more I was looking at these raincoats and admiring them, suddenly I realized that they look very similar to the winter coat I made a while back, a couple of years back. I guess you could say this was probably one of my first major sewing projects. This winter coat right here. Still one of my favorite things I have ever made. I am so happy with this. I wear it all winter, all the time. It truly is the perfect addition to my wardrobe. I needed this. And yeah, I absolutely adore this winter coat. So as you can see, it has all of those characteristics. It is nicely fitted up top, and then it comes down into a huge skirt that hits just below the knee, I believe, which is a wonderful, comfortable length to keep you warm in winter. And it's just, oh, I love this coat so much. So I thought, what if I just take this pattern, use it again to make a raincoat? Can you make a raincoat at home? So I just literally googled raincoat fabric, and then I saw it. I saw it. Pink, glittery raincoat fabric. So that settled it. Obviously, I'm gonna make myself a pink, glittery raincoat. How could I not? How could I not? With this pattern in mind, I purchased my fabric, and it's always kind of tricky buying fabrics online because you're never sure exactly what the color is going to come out like, but this was perfection. It looked like a fairly bright, like Barbie baby pink, but it came out so much more muted and mature, which is fantastic. It's not actually a garish bright pink like my pink glitter tulle gown. It's a much more kind of muted, wearable, I guess, mature pink. It is also not as glittery as I thought it would be. The glitteriness of it is mostly on one side of the fabric. This is about how glittery it is, which is not very glittery at all. It's quite subtle and very elegant, if you ask me. As elegant as a pink glittery fabric can be. All in all, much more wearable than I anticipated it to be, which makes this project even more exciting. So to go along with this, I really wanted a beautiful contrasting lining fabric, and I was looking for ideally a floral print for the inside, but I couldn't find anything that wasn't ridiculously expensive or even more expensive than this outside fabric, and there's a limit to how much I was willing to spend on this. So eventually I ended up going for just a plain white, which is still gonna be a contrast, still gonna be pretty, maybe not as exciting as it would have been if it had been floral, but I just couldn't find the right thing. So yeah, the inside lining is gonna be white. So that's kind of my base fabric covered. Now, if you look at this coat, there are a few obvious issues with making this into a raincoat. First of all, it closes with buttons, which will not do for a raincoat, simply will not do. You need a much more waterproof closure if you want to actually have a functional raincoat. So I'm probably gonna have to alter the pattern there a little bit. And I'm considering if I want to do kind of like an overlap type of situation where I have something underneath and then an overlap, or if I just want to use the snap buttons that I bought, because I got some absolutely gorgeous bronze colored snap buttons that I think might actually work just instead of these buttons as a closure, because they don't leave any holes obviously in the fabric, for water to seep through. And these are specifically the anorak buttons, which are made for outdoor fabric use. Oh, they are brass, sorry, not bronze, brass. This might just work and I might not have to do an overlap, which would save me a lot of work and would be fantastic. I also considered doing a zipper underneath and then an overlap, but decided against that in the end. I couldn't find a good waterproof zipper that would work, that was long enough and the right color, and this was easier, I thought. Another issue is with the hood. So this pattern does come with a hood, which is fantastic, but it's detachable. It has these buttons in the back, you can take it off. It has a fully finished collar underneath, so that you can wear this coat without the hood as well. But obviously a raincoat without a hood is no good. I'm also a little bit worried, as pretty as this is, this hood, maybe I can show you if I just put it on. It is very large and wide. If there is any type of wind at all, this will just blow off, which is annoying. It's okay in a normal coat, but in a raincoat, you need it to be functional. So I will probably have to do something to make this more functional, the whole hood thing. So that's another thing to consider. I will have to make sure that it is just always attached and that it doesn't blow off as easily. And then the last thing, obviously, is simply making it waterproof. So this fabric should be waterproof already because it's literally raincoat fabric. But as soon as I make a seam, I'm poking holes through it, and holes let in water and make it no longer waterproof. To remedy that, I bought some waterproof sealant tape. I believe that's what it's called. Basically, I'm fairly sure you iron this on to the inside of the seam. You have this on actual raincoats as well, and this just seals the seam and makes it waterproof. So I think I'm gonna have to go through and do this to all of the seams on the outside fabric on the inside and make sure that it is completely waterproof that way as well. So basically a lot of extra steps to take this from a normal coat to a raincoat, but if I manage to do this, it's gonna be so good. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead, grab the pattern that I used to make that winter coat, see if there are any other adjustments that I want to make, maybe to the length of the whole thing or the sleeves or anything. I might want to make the sleeves a little bit longer so that they cover the hands, like the wrists and part of the hands maybe as well. Let me just go ahead and find the pattern first. And I am so excited to get started on this. Okay, I found the pattern. It's fascinating to me how they always make the item look so ugly on the envelope. But I put on the coat just so we can take a look at it. It is in fact a little bit longer than knee length, and I think this would be a wonderful length for the actual raincoat as well, because this way it will cover most of the dresses that I wear and most of my skirts. I prefer a skirt length that's like just below, well, kind of this length, honestly, just below knee, kind of T length. So if, you know, the coat actually covers most of my clothes, that's fantastic. I think the sleeve length is actually fine as well. The sleeves are fairly long, and even if I were to cycle, they're still long enough, I think. So that's fine as well. Yeah, we talked about the hood. I'll have to think about that a little bit more and decide on what I want to do with that. But other than that, honestly, I don't think I need to even make that many adjustments. What I do want to do is do a different style of belt, because right now I have a belt with a buckle, which takes kind of long to put on. I would maybe like to have a belt that's just long and just tied into a knot. I think that would maybe be easier. Do I do pockets or do I not do pockets? I will probably do pockets. I think those are nice on a raincoat as well. Stick to the basic pattern for now and maybe make some adjustments or alterations as I go. But for the most part, I think we can just go ahead and start cutting the pattern out of the fabric. I'm a tiny bit worried here. This is a lot of pattern pieces and it's gonna be a pretty tight squeeze. The thing that worries me is that I need one more of this. I need to cut this 4 times, this pattern piece right here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to shuffle things around, squeeze them in a bit tighter. Good thing about this fabric is it doesn't have a direction, so I could, you know, turn everything however I wanted to, more or less. I can cut things on the cross grain, just preferably not on the bias, you know, as always. I think it should be okay. I have a bit of room over on that side, but it's gonna be a tight squeeze, this one. But I'm sure I can make it work. I'm sure I can make it work. I did add a bit of length onto all of the like skirt panels, I guess. So I, in theory, need a little bit more fabric than the envelope says. Should be fine. I think I figured out how to place my pattern pieces so that everything fits. And then a second issue occurred to me. I was about to attach these with pins, and then I realized I cannot poke holes into this fabric because that would no longer make it waterproof. So I need to figure out a different way to cut out my pattern pieces. But then I realized that these pieces are bigger than my cutting mat. I was gonna just slide my cutting mat underneath here and do it that way, but yeah, the pattern pieces are bigger than my cutting mat, so I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I might have to just take a photo of this and cut these pieces out one by one, just on my cutting table, or trace them all. Maybe that's actually the best thing to do. Maybe I need to trace these and then cut it out like that. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of work. Oh man. Okay, I've managed to trace everything. Here's what it looks like right now. Can't really tell that well, but it's all here. So now all there's left to do is cut this out and hope that the 2 layers come out the same. There is probably a better way to do this. I just can't think of it right now. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and fingers crossed that it all turns out well. It is a very tight squeeze on here, I have to say, a very, very tight squeeze. I'm also not sure I will be able to get the belt out of this, but that's a worry for later. If I don't get to do a belt, then it's fine without the belt as well. Okay, let's get cutting. it's all cut out. I realized as I was cutting the first piece that I probably would have been fine if I had just pinned in the seam allowance, but it's too late now. If any of you are planning on doing something like this, it's probably fine if you pin inside the seam allowance because that's not going to be on the outside. Anyways, all of my pieces are cut out and there is so many of them. I am a little worried that I don't have enough of this tape. I'll probably find that out as I go. I might have to go ahead and order more. There's gonna be lots of seams on this thing. Anyway, yeah, everything is cut out. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the pieces out of the lining as well, or I might actually leave that until later and just do the entire outside first. Maybe that's easier, that way I won't have to keep track of all of the pieces. Yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just sew up the outside first. I ended up not cutting out any of the collar pieces, so I'm gonna have to see how I'm able to attach the hood to the actual coat, but I think that's something I'll just figure out when I get to that point. I might have to cut out a little collar-like thingy to attach in between. There are shards of this fabric left, like just the tiniest pieces, and I would still love to get a belt out of this at some point as well. So, but yeah, like just tiny bits that I could still, you know, use to make something small like a little collar or something like that. So I'm not too worried there either. So I guess we can say for now the prep work is done and we can start assembly in the next video, and I am so excited about that because I think this is gonna be absolutely gorgeous. I just love this fabric. It's definitely not glittery, it is shimmery, and I think it's gonna be fantastic. I chose a slightly larger size, just as I did with the winter coat, a slightly larger size than I normally wear because obviously this is outerwear, it's gonna be worn over clothes, and I want to be able to wear this year round, so over thicker clothing as well. I think that's what I'm gonna end this video for now. Thank you so much for joining me. I am really excited about this sewing adventure, and I hope you will join me in the next videos as well. I might have to take it a little bit slower with this project than I'm used to because I haven't been feeling that great. Sorry there was no upload last week either. I'm feeling better now, I'm back to work, but I still have to take it a little bit more slowly, so please bear with me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!